Good morning and welcome to the Friday edition of Let It Be Known. And we are brought to you by, can't forget the sponsors. We are brought to you by the Bell Project, helping tens of thousands in this cash bail system. They're trying to obliterate, they're trying to get rid of the unfair cash bail system that currently exists. We also brought to you by the March on PAC, a women led PAC that is trying to save democracy and obliterate uh, the MAGA system that we currently live under. Their actual goal is to pick the most qualified, the strongest, the in your face uh, Democratic candidates. So these women they mean business in the March on Back. They absolutely mean business. Lots going on this morning. A whole lot to talk about on a Friday, which is supposed to be the light day, right? Friday is supposed to be the light day, and it just seldom works out that way in this crazy world we live in. But first, we start, folks, with the news that came out yesterday about the passing of one of the pioneers, or perhaps the pioneer of hip hop, Africa Bambaataa, uh, the founder of the Universal Zulu Nation, died from complications reportedly related to cancer. He was just 67 years old. He was born Lance Taylor in 1957. Africa gained notoriety in New York's early hip hop scene for the block parties he threw in the South Bronx. In 1973, he co founded the Universal Zulu Nation, the hip hop awareness organization with a credo of peace, love, unity, and having fun. Of course, Planet Rock was released in 1982, took everything to another level. It reached number 48 on the Billboard Hot 100 charts. Um, but before recording music in 1980, Africa was already an established DJ in the block party scene. The block parties were on and popping all throughout, whether you were in the Bronx, Brooklyn, Queens. Block parties were everywhere. Summertime meant block party time. You MCs grabbed the mic. It was off the chain. Lots of fun. But the success of Planet Rock really transcended his fame to new heights because he really kicked off that electro oriented rap. He was among the many artists, including Bruce Springsteen, Miles Davis, Bono, and Run DMC, who appeared on the 1985 anti apartheid protest song, Sun City. Remember that? I ain't gonna play Sun City. Yeah, he was definitely down with that. Mike V says African Bambaataa brought folks together when KRS-One was battling X Clan. Man, takes you back, Mike. And of course, yeah, Planet Rock is still a party favorite, says RNG, and it's so true. Very much so. It's a party favorite. And then, Africa left um, Tommy Boy Records to sign with Capitol Records. Um, and then he made the Light in 1988, which included collaborations with uh, George Clinton, Bootsy Collins, Boy George, and UB40. He collaborated with many innovative funk artists. Of course, James Brown, John Lennon, George Clinton, as we mentioned. And by the 2000s, he did kind of segue from music, became a voice actor on the animated series. Who remembers um, Kung Fu? It combined kung fu with hip hop, and it ran for 3 seasons. And then later in 2012, African Bambaataa started a 3-year term as a visiting scholar at Cornell University, where he was speaking with Ivy League students in public discussions and sharing his expertise on hip hop culture. African Bambaataa has died at the age of 67. Wow, that's not how you want to start your Friday, right? Oh boy. But hip hop, the museum opens up soon next year, the grand opening, and so much history. And I enjoyed what they was doing during the 50th anniversary. It's like a preview of what you're gonna see with the museum and everything that's gonna go on in the Bronx next year, in the South Bronx. So, it should be cool. We're gonna get into just a little politics because of this stupidity. A Republican aligned group is using Ku Klux Klan imagery to target black voters. They're using civil rights rhetoric and images of, Barack Obama, trying to persuade, folks in Virginia to vote for Republican candidates as they try to maintain House control in the midterms. There was a report about the folks in the Six Mount Zion Baptist Temple. It says, everyone, nearly everyone raised their hand when, they were asked who had seen the imagery. And the primarily black audience at a town hall this week knew what they were referring to, ads using the images of Klansmen in white hoods to warn against voting for Virginia's redistricting amendment, and others falsely suggested that Obama and Governor Abigail Spanberger want them to vote no on redrawing the state's political map to favor Democrats. They are pulling out all the racist stops that they can. And so the NAACP is down there with others trying to dispel what they call a disinformation campaign. And that campaign is targeting black voters as well as elderly voters. And there's a referendum. The referendum comes up on April 21st on the redistricting. And right now, it's a very close, according to various polls, the early voting suggests that it's a close contest. And so they're pulling out the Ku Klux Klan. I tell you what. And this is so folks say, oh, so why do they get so black folks get so mad at people like Chili and Nick Cannon because of stuff like this? It's as simple like as simple as that, as Quincy Jones' songs and stuff like that. Because this is what the people they support, the people they put their little resources behind. And Chili she don't really have a lot of resources. Did they file bankruptcy or they claim they were broke? It said Babyface and Pebbles and Bam Bam wasn't giving them money. Oh gosh. But they are trying to intimidate by using Ku Klux Klan image in Virginia. Just absolutely. This is what Waka Flocka, Lil Wayne, Chili, Nick Cannon, Stephen A. Smith, Stephen Fetchit, people like that. This is what they support. Byron Donalds. This is what they support. Make no mistake about it. They can't say, "Oh no, it's the person, it's the candidate." No, it's it's the whole thing, the whole picture. It is absolutely the whole picture. That other stuff doesn't fly. There's no excuse when you got to where you are because of the people that you're now aiding the suffering. They supported you, and that is there. And there's no question about it. I forgot. It's Happy Swag Hoodie Day, and RNG is rocking Alabama State. He says, "What a week we are having, from a fake Armageddon to Trump's third wife explaining her relationship with her ex-boyfriend at time was had. Oh gosh, that's diabolical. Oh gosh, yeah, time was had. But speaking of, I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you the next thing, that a major war, perhaps uh, the world war, is imminent, and you will understand why I say it's imminent. Because we know the ways of Donald Trump, and so this should be easy to predict. Predict, I should predict. Russia has brutally mocked the Don. They called him arrogant, and they said that he's been defeated by Iran, and they even said they called out his quote decline in mental state. Um, now this is through Russian state media, and the country's media do not agree with Trump's claims of total victory over Iran. In fact, the BBC Stephen Rosenberg said that when analyzing the content of Russian newspapers, that this is obvious that this is the Russian government, because this is what Trump wants to do here, control all the media and dictate what the media says. Well, that's what happens in Russia. So you can't put anything out without the approval by the government, and in a lot of cases from Vladimir Putin himself. So what they're putting out now is exactly how Vladimir Putin must feel. And this is what they're saying. Trump has, quote, this is a quote, Trump has escaped from the trap of his own making, but only the feverish mind of the American himself consider this a triumphant victory. The Russian editor for the BBC also explained how Russian media believe that there is a, quote, mass of political bonuses for Iran. They was referring to that ceasefire when they said the only thing missing from the list is the demand that the arrogant American leader himself personally come to Tehran, crawl 10 kilometers, periodically kissing the bombed asphalt, and then publicly repent. This is what they are saying about him in Russia. And again, through the Russian media, which, as you know, as stated, it had to be approved by the Russian government. They can't do it. They can't do anything like that without it being approved by the Russian government. Now, which leads to this. You got, I don't know how many of you have seen this, but this is more than just a screen. this is absolutely hilarious. Let's I keep teasing it. Well, let's go.
Why we're all still having trouble with this. Let's try it again from the top. This is a victory for the U.S. because our goal from day one was for Iran to open the strait that didn't close till after we attacked, which was completely controlled by their military we had total dominance over. And it was a waterway that we could have taken over, but instead asked for help that we didn't need, but we'll remember that our allies did not give us, all because of the negotiating power of a FIFA Peace Prize recipient's threat to annihilate a civilization in order to liberate them from a regime that changed, which was not our goal, but we will take credit for, from an old man who hates us to his younger son who hates us for those reasons, and that we killed his father. And while it is not clear the status of Iran's nuclear capabilities that we obliterated last year, but we're going to be a problem in 2 weeks, one thing is for sure. They now have more money and control of the strait than they had when they made the old deal that we ended because it was terrible. Now, I think that is enough about authoritarian propagandistic regimes. Does anybody have any questions about the Trump Library golden statue?
And so he's being mocked at home too. And this is why I say, knowing his MO, he's he's going to bomb something else, and then it's going to lead to a major war, another major war. And what Russia was saying too, and this is not just the media, their intelligence apparently, reportedly, was saying that the U.S. has demonstrated that they are no longer this behemoth that can run over, even as they put it, a small nation like Iran. And they also point to what many here has pointed to, and that is the ineptitude, the inexperience of the Pentagon. And what they say, very inexperienced. And we know that a lot of Donald Trump's picks were very, very questionable, to say the least. And RG says our corporate media is almost like the Russian media. They rarely say anything bad about Trump. Has anyone seen the photos of the two rescued pilots? And that's a great question. There. Well, yeah. First of all, I did mention that, right? Corporate media is Donald Trump has seized control of much of it. But the question he asks is, I think, is a great question, because you think that by now we would have seen some more information about these pilots. Because you got to think about propaganda. I think that's a fair point. Very much in play, fair point. Where are they? What are their names? I'm just wondering. Oh gosh! And speaking of planes and Donald Trump, here's something else that he is up to. And this, again, air travel is going to be affected. The U.S. Department of Homeland Security is considering a controversial move that could stop the processing of international travelers at major airports located in so-called sanctuary cities. The newly installed Homeland Security Secretary Mark Wayne Mullin said the idea is under review as part of bigger tensions between the federal government and local jurisdictions that limit cooperation with federal immigration enforcement. The policy could have far-reaching consequences because major U.S. cities identified as sanctuary jurisdictions include none other than New York City, where you have JFK and LaGuardia Airport, Los Angeles with LAX, Chicago with the two big airports there, Midway included, in San Francisco. And they are home to the country's busiest international airports. So suspending custom processing in those locations would significantly disrupt travel. It'll disrupt tourism and, of course, trade, where we're getting buried. And they also acknowledge that this proposal would have some major implications for upcoming international events, including the World Cup. And that's expected to draw millions of international visitors to North America. So we're really, really at some crossroads, and it's just, hey, this is where we are at with this regime. Not even 2 years in. Not even 2 years in. And it really is a shame. And Mike Lee says, I guess this is the only way for Trump to establish a no-fly zone. Oh my gosh. travel is, you finally get a little bit of a break. Um, and, they pay TSA, and now you have this, which is, it's just, you put ICE agents at airports, and that's just not enough for this guy. RG says the World Cup will be like the 1939 Olympics in Berlin. Yeah. It seems like that's what he's shooting for. Oh boy. Another Friday straight talk headline news. AI is official. It's taken over so many jobs. One report says 20% or more than 20% of jobs have been taken now by AI. There's a new survey conducted by Epoch AI and Ipsos, which found that half of Americans used artificial intelligence in the previous week, and among employed users, half say they have used AI at least as much for work as for personal tasks. The report describes AI as a mainstream work tool, which indicates that it has become part of a routine workplace activity rather than limited or occasional use. And among workers who rely on AI for job related tasks, 27% said the technology has replaced some of their existing duties, while 21% said it has enabled them to take on new responsibilities. Now, the report found that the changes do not always occur together, with some workers experiencing automation without new tasks and others adding responsibilities without losing existing ones. So they're taking on more work in some cases where they're able to keep their jobs. Among employed AI users, 38% of those using free versions reported using AI for work at least as much as personal use, compared with 58% of self paying subscribers and 76% of workers whose employers provide access. Half of the US adults report using AI in the past week. And this is the problem. This is as I was going to get to too as well. RNG, AI is very inaccurate. And the thing, again, what I hate about AI in journalism, I'm telling you, we complain in journalism about folks becoming journalists who are not journalists, who claim to be journalists and not journalists, but journalists themselves use AI so much. If you read, folks are not reading, they say, the newspapers or news. Well, when you read it, and me as a journalist will tell you, what sickens me, they all sound the same, which means they all are using AI. And it kills me when I see it, especially in the black press, particularly in the black press, because that was where you go to, get authentic news. And so when some of my colleagues in the black press, when I see it, I immediately recognize it. It's not that I have a training, because you can all recognize it. It's very robotic, and if you know the people, you hear them talk, that the words that wind up in their articles are not their words. And you see it throughout the Associated Press. You see it throughout even the Washington Post and CBS News, NBC News on their websites. It's AI dominated. Why put a byline on it? Just put AI. It's so dry and robotic. And then you could tell when they try to get a little fancy, it's still a computer talking. It's still a computer that wrote that. Some sort of automation. It's terrible. Mike B says, instead of let it be known, let it be heard. It's horrible. And then you got publishers and others and ad execs who complain, there's no advertising. Well, I wouldn't advertise with that stuff, and they can do it themselves. If you're gonna do it so robotic, Mike V says he worried about cloning your voice and writing articles for you and claiming to be Brown Press Media. Well, there you go. There you go. Because you just never know. RG says, long story short, right here in New Orleans, the DA office used AI generated court cases to use in another case, but the AI court cases didn't exist, so the defender walked. I heard about that. And it's not just in New Orleans. They are using it. Judges are using it. Of course, the DA is using it. Some defense attorneys are using it. It was a case. Who was it? The Peterson case out in California. It's a big case. Some case where they claim, oh, I know what it was. From the Fugees, Praz. When he appealed his conviction, he said that his attorney that he fired or was no longer working for him used AI and got everything wrong. And he blamed that on him being convicted. But it is out of control. It should never have been allowed into journalism, but because of the lack of funds, publishers, not just the black press, but everywhere, looking to cut costs, looking to have some a way in which they don't need physical people, which you have to pay, and in cases in mainstream media, not just pay their salaries, but health benefits, etc. That saves them a whole lot. But look at the price that they have to pay. You can't trust it. As Flav says, can't trust it. You can't trust it. So speaking of which, I like that magazine there, Chuck D's Rap Central Station. You're not seeing that in there. You're not seeing the AI stuff in there. Not in the writing. And maybe that's it. Maybe and I say this as I about to say it. I see some problems with some people would have with this, and I understand. But if you're going to use it for illustrations, maybe. But then what? You cuts out a job, and in a lot of cases, photographers, it cuts out their job, so it's not right. And they wonder why news is suffering and has suffered, and advertisers have not just walked away but bolted. You give them no incentive. Give them some journalists like a Sam P.K. Collins, Lauren Burke, myself. Give them some journalists who know what they're doing, who knows how to go get it and present it. And people respect that. They like that. Advertisers respect that and like that. But no, folks hate paying folks. They hate paying folks. But if you want to, I don't mind paying folks. Grass needs cut. Somebody could do that. I'll pay for it. Snow needs removed. Come on. It's the cost of life. It's the cost of life. You got to come out your pocket sometimes. Even RNG, I'm sure, has to come out of his pocket. I see all the crawfish boils he has and stuff. He gotta come out of his pocket sometime. Now, naturally, he's able to with the with the high interest rate he charges on student loans. So, he's got it like that. He's got Fort Knox under the mattress. He said his pockets are closed. Oh boy, Mike B probably spends a bit. I spend some money. Oh gosh. Um, I wanted to keep things kind of light on a Friday, but this is what happened. So I did find last night a interesting entertainment story. These two. This is this is crazy to me. The divorce proceedings between Cardi B and Offset have taken a deeply personal turn with newly obtained court documents revealing that the former Migos rapper sought a DNA test on Cardi's youngest child, the baby she shares with NFL wide receiver Stephon Diggs. Yeah, Offset wants a DNA test. But the judge did deny it, saying, "No, you're not doing that. That's not your child. The kid is not your son." um, but a separate DNA test request, and this was interesting, that Offset made in connection with another one of Cardi B's children was granted. The dates of birth for the children are redacted in the order, but the child described in the order as a newborn is widely understood to be the baby Cardi welcomed with Stephon Diggs last November. And given that the most recent child she and Offset had together, which is a daughter named Blossom, was born in September of 2024. And they say that the distinction matters legally because Offset and Cardi's shared children are not in question in the same way. But the timing of Blossom's birth and the newborn's arrival within the same divorce timeline appears to have prompted Offset to seek clarity on at least one additional paternity matter, which the court approved. The court also said, hey, y'all can't disparage each other on social media or in interviews. Yeah, in fact, Mike V, Ed Bloom, there is a they're going after Ed Bloom's organization is behind going after the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation scholarships, saying that it's discriminatory. And I know that the Legal Defense Fund is helping the CBCF with that as well. So yeah, good question, Mike. And the answer is yes. And I point to the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation's scholarships that they give every year and the great work that they do. And it's a shame. This is what Nick Cannon and Chili and Waka Flocka and all the rest, this is what they support. ONG says, in the words of Bernie Mac, I the Papa, I the Pappy. Yeah. Look, it is absolutely crazy. And Offset, homie, he's gets shot, and what's interesting about that is that it's all apparently it stems from gambling debts, and as he as the situation continues to move forward, other folks keep coming. Yeah, he owed me this, he owed me that. It was a athlete who said, I let him slide on 10 grand, but you see what happens. Apparently, if all these reports are true, this guy has a serious gambling problem, and when he got out of the hospital, it was reported that he was immediately back at the casino. And what's sad about this, a part of what's sad about it, is that that's how reportedly how his bandmate lost his life arguing over a gambling debt. I mean, these guys, they come into millions of dollars and they can't let the the thug life, the street life, the crazy life go. And and then you get this situation. So you wonder, the gambling, is it not, is he addicted, or is he continuing to gamble because there's really no music career for him anymore, and he owes people money and he's trying to make, I don't know. Yeah, another broke rapper who brags about being rich on his songs. Who is surprised? Who is surprised? Meanwhile, his ex-wife, she she continues to rake in the dough. Her concerts are selling out everywhere. She did Washington and Baltimore and Philly in the last week. Not to mention the other deals that she's made, and he's out there gambling and getting shot. That's what they call down bad, isn't it? It's just these guys. You run out of sympathy cards, especially for folks like that. Man. Anyway, um, today, we've mentioned this a few times, but today the Michael movie opens up in Berlin, um, and they have this huge events planned for the entire weekend, and it opens in Berlin, and then on the 13th, which is Monday, and before I even get to that, they open it in Berlin. People say, why in Berlin? It doesn't open worldwide until the 24th of this month. But people might wonder, why in the world would they open in Berlin? Well, Berlin is where, like, Michael's probably his most rabid fan base is. And so they have really catered this movie to fans. And on April 13th, Monday, in Gary, Indiana, Michael Jackson's hometown, there will be free showing of the Michael movie. The estate will put on. They've invited all residents. I think it's like 2 tickets per household that they've given. So they're really doing this up. So Monday, I'll be able to drop my review, as my wife and I were able to go to a screening on March 31st in New York. And I'll be able to drop my review. There's an embargo until after the Berlin opening. But you're seeing all these various reports about who's not in it, and why didn't they do this? Why didn't they do that? From folks who haven't seen the movie. And the movie, the good thing for them is that the movie answers all of those questions. I think folks will be, they'll have their questions answered in a very satisfactory way. Janet's not in the movie. Okay, so what? It's not about Janet. She could do her own movie. So we'll see. Antoine Fuqua is no joke. He's no joke. Somebody was texting me, not texting me, but emailing me. I don't know who the person is, asking me about Diana Ross and her part in this. And the one thing that this film, one of the things it'll do, and it's no secret, Diana Ross did not discover the Jacksons. There was another major artist, and you probably know the answer to this, but I'll let you see the film or wait for my review next week. But there was one major artist who actually introduced them to the world, and it wasn't Diana Ross. So they need to stop with the nonsense. Is Diana Ross in the movie? Why isn't Diana Ross in the movie? Or is she? Well, find out. Go to theaters. The pre-sales are reportedly over $80 million. They paid a reported $150 million to make this movie. So an opening of $80 million would really go a long way to justifying that $150 million payout to make this film. So we'll see. But it's Friday, folks, so that means the weekend gets to kick off, and whatever you do, make sure you do it safe, and make sure you come back here on Monday for more. We got some things coming up next week that I think you'll like. Starting on Monday, special guest on Wednesday, and more. So join us on Let It Be Known. Thanks again for supporting.
Let's go! Let's go, Flav. Hey! Public Enemy is coming through. Coming through. Public